Hi, how's everybody doing today? How's it going? Well, let's see. What do we want to talk about first? Oh, I know what we want to talk about first. How about that storm last night? I don't know about you guys, but that was pretty wicked. I was doing a Zoom meeting last night and I had to keep going looking out the window while I was watching it, the presentation, because I'm telling you, it sounded like everything was falling in. It was pretty crazy out there. So, I'm hoping everybody is okay from that. Like I said, that was a lot. Hey, Dorothy. It was a lot of wind, a lot of rain, and a lot of hail. So, yeah, that was pretty wicked last night. Okay, so as we get started, like we always do, I want to start with what's going well. So, since we've talked on Monday, what is going well for you? How's your last couple of days been? Has it been okay? Have you been able to get some things done? Have you been able to maybe help your kids with their homework? Maybe go for a walk? So, what's going well for me is, well, I looked around this morning after that storm and it doesn't look like we had any damage. So, that's going well because I did see on the news this morning. I turned the news on, the weather on for a few minutes, and I saw where people in Illinois, some of their windows got busted out with big hail balls. So that went well that we didn't have any kind of damage at all. So I'm thankful for that. And what else is going well is I want to share something before I get going on what I'm talking about today is that for a while now, other than me going for a walk, I hadn't done much exercising is because I've had issues with my back and that prevented me from doing a lot of things. And at the end of last year, that's where I found the redox signaling molecules, and I started applying the Renew and also taking the liquid. And I've gotten stronger along the way. So recently, I just, besides walking, said it's time to start exercising. So I've been able to use a couple of my tapes, and I started exercising a little bit. You got to get back in there because I want to get stronger again, like I used to be. So that went well because I was able to do one of my tapes, and that was good. That was really good. I did my shake, and then I went ahead and did my tape, and I felt really good afterwards. So that went well. So, you know, hopefully you looking to things where you can say this is what's gone well in the midst of everything else. You have these things to at least applaud yourself for every day of what's gone well. So today what we are going to talk about is I want to talk about meal planning made easy. I know that since everybody's home now, there may be a lot of people who don't do much meal or haven't done much meal planning. They don't know how, or they don't like the way that their food tastes, or they felt like they didn't have enough time. So, we're going to cover that quickly today. I'm going to give you some information that'll hopefully help you. That if you're somebody who has not been much of a cook, you'll take a few steps to be able to do some planning, do some prepping, because I'm sure with your kids and your husband home, the question that everybody's saying is, what's for dinner? So we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about that, why you want a meal plan. And there's a couple reasons why that's a good idea to do. One is so that if you're planning, maybe you're eating better, you're saving money because you're planning meals where you can use one kind of meat and use it for several recipes. You're preventing food waste. You're having a little sanity there so that you have a game plan because everybody's home and getting hungry. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about that. And for those of you who don't normally do that, it's okay. You have to start somewhere. You have to start, everything that we do, you have to have a starting point. So if you're one who usually doesn't cook a lot, maybe go online, something that you like, or a recipe book that you have, pull out a few of those that seem pretty simple. you know, that seem where you can go through and look at the recipes and check out and see what the ingredients are and assess, does this seem like something that you would want to make? And how easy is it? Do you have what you need? Part of what you have to remember is when you're planning to make a recipe, that you pull the recipe and you look through the ingredients and if it's something that you're used to cooking and making already, you already pretty much know what you need. If you're somebody who doesn't and you say, well, I don't like the way the food tastes, I don't know how to cook, or, you can follow the recipe. But what I want to do is I'm going to give you a few basics that I use that are amazing to have on hand. If you're somebody who already cooks and does baking, does grilling, whatever, and you just don't do it a whole lot because you're not sure or you're not crazy about the flavors, that these are my go-tos. So I'm going to go through that really quick. Okay. So for me, I am a garlic person. We put garlic no matter what it is. Vegetables, meat, I'll sprinkle garlic on that. I like to use seasoned salt. I use Lawry's. You can use any seasoned salt, but I'm just kind of giving you a little bit of the basics of some of what I use. So I use those. There's one thing that I like to make that I want to share with you too that I've made for people. I do sell it. Is I make a turmeric, pepper, and garlic mixture. This I put on all of my vegetables. I put on my salad. I put it on all of my meats. It gives it better flavor. And if you've done any research or reading on turmeric, it is also an anti-inflammatory. So I just sprinkle that on with everything. Like I said, my salads, my meats, my vegetables. This is something if you want a little bit of a kick. This is tahini seasoning. I love it. It's a little bit of lime and chili powder. It's not real spicy, but it makes it taste really good. And then for all of my meats, what I do is I use three things and I put them in this little shaker, but I'll show you, is I use ground cumin, and I buy the bigger ones. You can buy the little ones, but you save money buying the bigger ones. I use ground cumin. I use, can you see? Ground thyme, and I use ground sage. If you use those, and I put them in here, and if you use those when you're making your meats and you just sprinkle it on both sides and then a little bit of garlic powder, seasoned salt, and then I also put my other mixture and you just let it sit for a little bit, I think you will be mighty surprised on how much flavor that it gives your meat. It just seasons it up. It just, I don't know, I think it just enhances the juices. So those are just some of the things that I use that I wanted to get out there and show you. So as you're preparing for a meal, you have the recipe here and you just follow along and you look and see and you make a master list. So I have a couple different recipes and these are for chicken. So I would get them out, I would look through them and I would say, okay, um, what do I have? So I put that on the side, and then what I don't have, then that would be my list. And what you want to do as well is you want to be able to choose meals sometimes where you'll have leftovers, especially if you have a bigger family, so you're not having to cook over all the time. You want to use a recipe that you're familiar with, and then you want to add a new recipe. So, like I said, you want to assemble a master list with the recipes and with the ingredients so that you can see exactly what ingredients you have. If you're going to try something new, do you have that ingredient? If not, then that is something you would add to the list of what you're going to purchase. But you always want to look in your fridge, your freezer, and your pantry at home first to see what do I have. If it's something that's exotic and you're not even sure that you or your family are going to like it, then right now I would say stick to basics because it's not like we can go out and run to the store or even place orders because from what I understand right now, orders are taking a little bit longer than they usually from delivery services because so many people are ordering. So you just get your and just figure it out, what it is you want by your list, by your recipes. And then what you want to do is, like I said, you get your list together, you order if you need to order the ingredients, but you always want to plan 2 to 3 days ahead of time to give yourself enough chance to go to the store or to give yourself the chance for you to be able to get the products that need to be delivered. And so then, once you have that ready, what you want to do is you want to plan. And I think this is what works best if you're somebody who's not used to cooking or if you've got a lot of things going on, is plan a prep day. Sundays for me, Sundays or Mondays are usually a good prep day. So, and when you do a prep day, what you want to do is you have your list. And let's just say, we'll say you decided you want to do something with chicken, since I had a couple chicken recipes there, and you want to use chicken breast. So, if you have them in the freezer, a big bag of them, pull them out. If you don't, go get a big bag of chicken. Go get either chicken tenders or chicken breasts and cook. If it's 3 pounds, depending on size of your family, or 5 pounds, go ahead and make all of that meat. A big pork roast, go ahead and make all of that meat. So let's say you get the meats ready and you can just use the basics, that I just showed you with the thyme, the cumin, the sage, your garlic powder, your seasoned salt. You just season them up with a little bit of the turmeric seasoning. Or if you're somebody who likes lemon pepper, I know Dorothy and I were talking and she had mentioned, lemon pepper. If you want to put lemon pepper, put it on a cookie sheet, throw that in the oven or throw that on the grill. And then what you can do is while that's cooking, you can start prepping your other foods. Vegetables, if your family likes to snack on things, get, carrots, celery, cauliflower, cucumbers. Pull all of that out, cut them up, and put them in little containers. Same thing with the vegetables. Let's just say you're going to cook your meat and then you decide you want to maybe grill some zucchini as well. So then you cut that up, your green peppers and your zucchini. But what you want to do is instead of making just enough for that meal, you want to make more. That's just something that I have done for a very long time is I make a bigger amount so that number one, we have leftovers or it can be used for a lunch the next day for John to take or for me. Or especially with the meats, when I was talking about the meats, I cook more chicken. And let's say I'm going to do chicken and potatoes, so we'll eat some of that chicken and then I will have the potatoes, and then I have this leftover chicken. Well, one of the recipes that I had was where you could take and make chicken cakes. Well, what you could do is take that chicken and shred it up, and that could be part of, some of the ingredients that you bought. Some of this I have here, some of I don't, so that would be something I could add to my list. And then some of that chicken that's left over, you could do another day and make it into chicken cakes. You can take and shred your chicken and take some of the green peppers or sweet peppers that you had diced up, and maybe on Monday or Tuesday, you throw that together and make fajitas. There's always ways that you can make it easier for yourself, and having a prep day is really, really good. Like I said, usually Sundays or Mondays are good for me. With your kids home, have them help you chop stuff. If they like carrots, have them help you chop up some carrots. Have some sugar snap peas. Have You can cut up some celery. You can have all of these things ready so that when somebody's hungry or you decide to throw some of these vegetables in for a stir fry, you now have them ready to go so that you're not every single day you're in the kitchen. Okay, what am I going to make today? How am I going to make this? Everybody's hungry. Well, you pull the meat out, you grab your veggies, you get a fry pan, throw some olive oil in there, kind of stir fry it together, you're good to go. Same thing with a pork roast. When I buy pork roast or big pork. I like to buy the big pork loins, and I cut off a big section, and that's a roast. And then I take it, I make small pork chops out of those. But I'll take that roast and I'll make that as a roast. I may throw in some Lipton um, onion soup, or I may just throw in maybe a little bit of barbecue sauce, or I may just throw in some kind of a jar of salsa. It all depends. I season it always. Those are my basic seasonings, what I showed you. All my meats, that's what I do. Regardless of what else I'm going to do, I just really believe that it enhances the juices in the meats so that they taste better. And then whatever else you're going to do with the meat during the week, um, you've already done a lot of the seasoning, and you can just add a little bit more garlic powder, seasoned salt, pepper, whatever you want. So, like with the roast, I would throw the roast in the crock pot. We would eat that with a salad, or maybe a bag of steamed vegetables, or steam some vegetables. And then we still have a lot of meat left. So what I do is I kind of break it up a little bit. And the next day, or the day after that, I may pull some of it out, throw that in a fry pan, throw some potatoes in it, cook that up together. That makes it something different. Um, or I want to make barbecue pork. I take some of that meat, shred it, throw it in a little bit with the fry pan and or back in the crock pot, and then I throw some barbecue sauce on it. So you've taken one roast that you cooked, you made it, you threw it in the crock pot on the Sunday, and as you're prepping your chicken and you have that in the oven, now you're cutting up your vegetables. Now you're cutting up fruit. That was something I did a couple weeks ago. Um, I had grapes, I had strawberries, I had orange, and I had bananas. So what I did is I washed them. I put the orange, I peeled them and I cut them up in smaller pieces, threw that in a bowl, rinsed my grapes, threw that in a bowl, cut up my strawberries, threw that in the bowl, cut up a banana, threw that in. You put a little bit of lemon over that because in that way the banana doesn't turn. And I had a nice sized bowl of fruit that we had in the fridge that if one of us wanted to snack on or somebody comes over and we're playing games, that's something that I have to offer. That you're not always having to think in the back of your mind, what am I going to make? What am I going to do today? Or what are we going to have for dinner? That's where if you make a list and you plan what you want for the week, or at least part of the week, whether it be chicken, whether you take steak meat, you make steaks, or you take a big what is it, chuck roast, and you eat part of that, and then you take some of the steak meat and you dice it up, and you can make fajitas with that. You can dice some of that up and put them in little baggies. I like to do that, put them in baggies and throw them in the freezer if we're going to have a salad and I want to have a grilled chicken salad. A lot of that's done. Make a big salad. Try to find one day during the week, whether it be the beginning of the week, if it works for you, the end of the week, however, that you sit down, you make a plan. What are we going to have this week? Well, I'll do something with chicken. I'll do something with pork. Make the basics with it and then plan your sides around it. Meatloaf. Okay, my husband and I like meatloaf. Instead of me getting 1 pound, I may get 3 pounds of I use ground turkey and I use ground deer. So it makes a bigger meatloaf. We may eat on it for a day or two. I slice it up, then I throw it in the freezer. So when there's days I don't know what we're going to have, I'll pull something out of the freezer. You can always put things in containers, label them with the date and what it is. You can put it in baggies, label it with the date and what it is, and have that extra go to so that it makes things easier for you, so that you're not um, just grabbing whatever there is, snacking and eating things that you really don't want to have because you weren't able to plan. Planning is really important. If you're not somebody who's done it, start small. Like I said, two things: find two different recipes that just have basic ingredients. How hard is it to take a whole chicken, season it with the seasonings I told about you, stick in a crock pot, put maybe a soup over it and let it sit in the crock pot, and then just cut up your vegetables or make a big salad. Start somewhere so that you are making it easier for yourself so that you're not so stressed out. If anybody needs ideas, you can reach out to me. That's one of the services that I offered was meal prep. I've gone in and done a couple meal preps for people where um, we went to the store, we came up with ideas. I met them at the store, we picked up the food, I went back to their house with my little cart of seasonings and showed them how to season, one tray of meat, get that in the oven, season the other meat, get that in the oven, and let's go ahead and make some cauliflower fried rice and make a big pot of that, or some zucchini and other vegetables, slice up something, make a big salad. And we were able to do that in less than 4 hours, and that gave them several meal options for the week. So they're not reaching to things that aren't healthy for them, that aren't as good of if they would have just prepared them with their own hands. So I'm hoping that that helps, giving you some ideas. Like I said, you can always reach out to me. Um, One thing that I did want to say, I like to give you guys a little saying here, and this one kind of jumped out at me today when I was going through some of my stuff, where it says less perfection, more authenticity. So what it means is you don't have to be perfect. If you're a person who's never food prepped, who's never done a lot of cooking because you go out to eat or someone else is doing it, start small. Throw something in the crock pot, make yourself a salad, buy, some vegetables, chop them up, steam them. Anything is Googleable. Is that a word? Anything is, you can Google it, where it'll tell you how to do that, so that you're not having one more stressor added to everything else that's going on in your family life right now. You'll have a game plan. And when you have a game plan, that helps relieve some of the anxiety and stress. So it's not about being perfect. It's just about learning, starting from somewhere, starting with the basics. If you need help, you need some ideas, I'm more than willing. Reach out to me privately, or send me a message here. We can talk on a Zoom call. I can give you some simple recipes. I can share the ingredients again. I can help you. That's what I'm here for. That's why I do what I do, is to help assist people in areas that they're unsure of. Just like if there's something I'm unsure of, I'm going to go to somebody who knows more than I do to get that help. That's why we need people. And so before I finish up, what I wanted to do is, I like it, the last thing is to read a scripture. So the scripture that I'm going to read today is 1 Peter 5, 6, and 7. It says, therefore, humble yourself under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you at the proper time, casting all your anxieties on him because he cares for you. That one kind of goes along with this, as far as cast your cares on him. Lord, I don't know how to cook. Where do I start? Start with the basics. Throw it in the oven, throw it on the grill, get a few ingredients. Don't start with this big recipe if you've never been a person who does cook. If you are someone who does, then go with your basics that can give you leftovers, and then be creative, make something new, or go with a new recipe. I hope these tips help. I hope you are well, and we will chat again on Friday. Friday's Fun Friday, and I've got something kind of cool that we're going to do on Friday. And I just want to say thank you for watching. Be blessed and have a great rest of your day.